Hi, and welcome to M6 Sports Spotlight. I'm Austin Meyer.
And I'm Branden T.
And today we're going to be talking about the Lions. Last year, the Lions went 3-13-1, and this year they were able to go 9-8. So we were kind of hoping that they wouldn't be the same old Lions, and they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, starting off 1-6, it's hard to do better than 9-8, starting off 1-6. So as the Lions pursued throughout the season, I think the coaching stepped up. I think our defense stepped up for sure. And soon we're going to have Noah at Ford Field, our defensive specialist, talking about that. So starting 1-6, it's hard to go to 9-8, but we were able to do it, and I think now we have high hopes for the Lions next season.
And honestly, I think a big reason we were able to is I feel like from last year to this year, our team chemistry definitely jumped up.
Yeah.
You know, with Jared Goff last year as a new quarterback after getting rid of Matthew Stafford, my favorite.
Right.
But I think he looked a lot better this year, and honestly, I think our rookies helped a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I got to give credit to Dan Campbell. Watching Hard Knocks, he's a great guy. He's a great coach, and he just wants the Lions to succeed. And I think that's huge for a head coach and any coach in general. But, yeah, so Jared Goff, big part. Dan Campbell, big part. All the coaching staff. So we're going to kick it out to Noah at Ford Field.
All right. Noah, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Branden. Thanks, Austin. I mean, if you want to talk about the Lions' defense, there is really a lot to go over. If you want to look at the first half of the season where we started 1-6, I mean, the offense was scoring. I mean, we were, for a big chunk of that part of the season, one of the most high-scoring teams in the NFL. And so when you have a team that's scoring so high and you're still losing all of your games, a lot of that lies right with the defense. And at some point during the season, they were able to make it click, and we turned it around, and we came back up to 9-8. But how did we do that exactly? If you go from scoring a majority of the points in the entire league and losing all of your games to starting to consistently win most of the rest that you were played that season, you cannot overlook the defense. I mean, they, of course, had to have played a major role of it. And not a lot of people would expect that would actually come from the rookies. Aiden Hutchinson, our number 2 overall draft pick out of the University of Michigan, came up and he stepped in to play a humongous role in the defense this year. I mean, he had came in and put a performance unlike any defensive rookie, defensive, lineman for that matter. Sorry.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but do you think Hutchinson was a bust? Because I know coming into this year, a lot of people thought that Hutchinson was going to be a bust. He's from Michigan. During their Georgia game last year, he didn't have the greatest game. And I think that made a lot of people think, he's going to come in. He's not going to be as good as everyone thinks he is. He's not worth the draft pick. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to come with a lot of speculation is going to come with any defensive rookie that is picked number 2 in the overall draft. But, I mean, you got to look at it like that, too. I mean, what kind of player do you pick number 2 in the draft, a defensive player to go on your line that is able to, pull off these tremendous numbers? And Aiden Hutchinson, this guy was, a lot of people thought he would be Rookie of the Year, Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. That, award did go to Sauce Gardner, but there is absolutely zero doubt that Hutchinson was definitely number 2 in the running for that spot, and it's his rookie season. I mean, the numbers he was putting up, the things he was doing for the defense for a rookie is just absolutely unseen.
And yeah, and Hutchinson, he's a big help with the rookie, but we also had 2 other pretty good rookies this year coming in the form of Houston and Rodriguez. So what do you think about them?
I think it's just impossible to overlook. Like we said earlier, just who would have expected this bandit of rookies to come in to the team and be able to produce what they did. I mean, starting off, a lot of people weren't too happy with the picks, of course, but they made it click and they made it work, and it was unreal. And if you want to talk about people coming into the team, when you think of defense in the National Football League, what is more iconic, more infamous when you're talking about defensive when you hear the words, the Legion of Boom? Football fans, this is something that nobody doesn't know of. And so when you say the Legion of Boom and you think of Bobby Wagner as a possibility on the Detroit Lions, that is something that you can't overlook. I mean, that's huge for our team, for our organization. You know, you can't overlook something like that. And not only that, there are also rumors about Jalen Ramsey, arguably the best corner in the league right now. I mean, nobody doesn't know his name. You just think of all of these weapons to have on a defense. I mean, I know those two aren't actually in the team yet, but, you know, imagine a scenario in which they did add it to the defense that we already have going for us. I mean, you tell me what's stopping us next year.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. Let's talk about the culture of the Detroit Lions, and let's talk about the D-line as a whole. Our D-line stepped up a ton at the end of the year versus the Packers, a team that was excelling a ton near the end of the season and that would rarely ever lose at Lambeau Stadium. They only scored 13 points on us. So let's talk about how our D-line and the culture of the Detroit Lions helped us become 9-8.
If you want to talk about the culture of the Detroit Lions, I mean, it's one of the most infamously bad cultures in the entire league. I mean, the Lions have never, ever done good. And, you know, one of the biggest games of the year for the Lions is the Packers. Whenever we play them, and especially at Lambeau Field, you know, nobody really ever expects anything from that, right? And no one ever has. It hasn't happened. It hasn't been a thing in years. And for us to not only go into that game, but to shut out the Packers and leave them only 13 points, I mean, the only thing that you can think of is the improvement of the defensive line, right? We went from the team that just could never, I mean, decades of not being able to get it right, being infamous for not being able to get it right, not having a good defense. And now you have a defensive line that is shutting out teams like the Packers at Lambeau Field. And it's not only the Packers, too. I mean, you know, nearly 6 games won in a row. I mean, there were those 2 losses at the end of the season to the Bills and to the Panthers, which were also very close games. There are a lot of teams that we have played that, you know, have higher expectations than even the Packers. And for us to be able to shut out teams like that, it shows massive improvement. And the defensive line has really stepped it up. And they're the ones on that side of the field that are stopping, you know, these players of these teams that have all these high expectations. And, you know, we're the Detroit Lions, you know, you can't get anything done. No one has to worry about us. Well, now you do, because now we have a defensive line that people are scared of, people are talking about. And so I really, really think that, you know, things have changed over on the defensive side of the field in Detroit. I mean, we've already shown massive improvement. And you got to think about, as we came into the season doing horrible, and for us to halfway through the season, to be able to figure something out and turn it around like that, who knows what kind of improvement we'll be able to make during the offseason.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about that. So starting off the season going 1-6, I mean, obviously our defense turned something around for us to be able to go 9-8. So we were able to adjust and adapt. So do you think that was Aaron Glenn, or do you think that was a team chemistry, or honestly, even do you think it was Dan Campbell just coaching and being able to go out there and play? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, that's the cool thing about the team is there's no I in team. I mean, Aaron Glenn it's been phenomenal for the defense. Dan Campbell has been phenomenal for the defense. The defense themselves have been phenomenal for themselves. I mean, this team is, you know, their chemistry is super tight. I mean, these guys, they love each other. You know, they're out there every Sunday playing. Like, honestly, they had nothing to lose, and they were putting on insane performances. And you look at Aaron Glenn, you look at Dan Campbell, you look at the Lions defense as a whole. I mean, I think everybody in that aspect has a chemistry with each other, or else they wouldn't have been able to get it right. But that's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you for coming out, Noah. We appreciate it, and we'll be right back. We're going to have a quick break, so see you guys in a minute.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for Noah for joining us. We're going to go straight into offense here, and we're going to go to talk to our offensive specialist, Kaz. So, Kaz, I just want to start off by saying, we just talked about it, but after last year's 13-1 season with the Lions and Jared Goff, did you have hopes coming into the season?
I had high hopes just for the entire team. I feel like we just needed to, get to know everyone good and just get a good, solid base. And I feel like we did that in the second half of the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I
100%.
said earlier, I'm a Matthew Stafford fan, so after we got rid of him, I was like, last year we were watching Goff, and I was kind of like, oh no, it's going to be like how it has been. But I was so excited this year when we were able to turn around and go 9-8, and I honestly am a big fan of Jared Goff now.
100%. And a lot of people questioned if he was going to be our franchise quarterback, and now it's. You never know. Like, he could be our franchise quarterback, and I think he was a big reason for our success this year.
Yeah, and honestly, the 4,000 passing yards, that tells you something. You can't just do that. And I have to say the 2,000 rushing yards, too, with Jamal Williams being able to break Barry Sanders' record. And that's all thanks to a great O-line. We got Penei Sewell, we got Frank Ragnow. So what do you think about our O-line, Kaz? How do you feel about them?
I feel like we're all just one big unit. When it comes to our O-line, we're able to open holes and run traps, and we're just able to do everything really efficiently. And I feel like it's really benefiting us this season.
100%. 2,000 rushing yards, that's something else. And it's nice when you have two running backs like DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is a powerhouse. You see him within 5 yards pretty much every single time. It's hard to stop him in 3 downs to score. And then you have our quick distance runner. We have Swift, who, he can get 7 yards if he wants to. He can get 10, 12, 15 yards and get that first down that we need.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have those two power hitters. And
I think, honestly, next year, unfortunately, Swift was hurt a lot this season, it felt like. So I think next year we'll be coming back even stronger, even better. And honestly, I was surprised to see that the Lions had the top 5. We were top 5 offensive rating. And after last year, I was like, I didn't actually see that being a possibility, but now with Jared Goff, we have Penei Sewell, we have Frank Ragnow, as we discussed. Being top 5 offensive rating, or being within the top 5 offensive rating in the NFL is crazy to me, but
yes.
I think we worked for it. I think we.
Yeah, I also think so, but I think I'm going to have to give a big shout out to Ben Johnson. Without him, I don't know if we would have won some of our games. His special play calls at the end. So I want to talk to you, Kaz, about our top 5 rating and Ben Johnson returning next season for us.
Well, I feel like our top 5, it should just give us that momentum to, push forward and prove that we have something to prove as a program. I feel like, it's like a big congratulations. We tried really hard for it, and we worked really hard. The return of Johnson, that'll definitely help us next season with our program.
So one thing that had me on the edge of my seat this year a lot was we went for 4th downs a lot.
And they weren't just 4th downs, they were creative.
They were big 4th
downs.
downs, trick plays, in the Packers game to win. It was just edge of the seat, it was nerve-wracking. And do you
100%.
think that this was the right call by Dan Campbell? Do you think that he has the energy, the guts to be able to get the team to take them to the next level?
I think he's a very good head coach. I think he's a good central core. He obviously got a bunch of hate for the last couple seasons, but that's needless to say.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's proved himself as a good core for the team, and he's good to have around.
I gotta say, I love Campbell.
Me too. I love him.
He just brings an atmosphere that is unlike any other team. It's this year it was awesome to be a Lions fan, and hopefully for the next few years it will be.
And then, so I want to talk about the passing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of my favorite guys. Again, watching Hard Knocks, he's a lovable dude. He knows who got drafted above him because he wants that in his head. And he's proved it this year that he is in the conversation for top 10, top 5 wide receivers this year. He had 1,000 yards passing. What can you say? He's a great guy. He's a great player. And do you want to talk about the passing at all this year?
We were able to just execute our routes really well and place the ball where it needs to be. And yeah, Amon-Ra
Yeah.
definitely helped with that.
And it's crazy though, because you go out there and Amon-Ra is not that big, and for
not
someone that size in the NFL to be able to do what they're doing is crazy. And honestly, I mean, I love him. I can't say one person on the Detroit Lions that I dislike. I love the whole team.
Yeah. All right, Kaz. Well, once again, I would like to thank you for coming out.
Yep.
We appreciate it, and we're gonna get another break, and then we'll see you guys in a minute.
New message.
Your social security number has been suspended. If you do not contact us, your account will be deactivated.
Scammers are aggressive when they contact a potential victim. Social Security Administration employees will never threaten you for information or promise benefits in exchange for information. In those cases, the call is fraudulent and you should just hang up. Don't provide any personal or financial information to these thieves. Call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
All right, and welcome back. Thank you for coming back, and we're going to go right into free agency with Teddy.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yep, thanks for coming. So first, I want to talk about losing our key players. We could lose guys like Jamal Williams, DJ Chark, Alex Anzalone, Mike Hughes, Isaiah Buggs. How do you feel? Because those guys were big parts of the team this year, and we could lose them due to unrestricted free agency.
Yeah, it's just all those guys are like a really key part to all of their culture. Like Williams, he broke the record Barry Sanders had, and Shark, like he helped with our receiving. It's just we got to bring some of those guys. I feel like Chark and Williams are like the most guys you want to bring back. The other guys, they're kind of older. I feel like in free agency we probably could replace all those older guys with some younger guys in the draft or just free agents that we can just pick up for not that much money and save some cap for bigger guys.
Yeah, so actually I was going to ask you, out of those five, who you think most important are, but you said Williams and Chark you think are like most valuable to our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after watching Williams break that touchdown record, I just want to see more of him.
Right. I mean, obviously I want Williams back on the team, but I think Alex Anzalone goes a little bit underrated sometimes because he led the team in tackles this year, and I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez is a rookie. He's got some swagger, so a lot of people like him. So I think Alex Anzalone goes unnoticed sometimes.
Yeah, and you know what? I heard, I mean, he even said he'd take a pay cut to stay with the Lions, so that just makes you want him back. But so out of all positions that you can pick from in this offseason with free agency, what do you think the Lions should pursue?
I personally think it's got to be the corners, and it just has to be. Like, our defensive line's good. They try to stop the run and everything. But if you watch this past season, it's just they keep throwing the ball right past us. Like, they just keep third downs, they just chuck it far, they keep catching it. And it just seems like our corners aren't really, like, doing as good to stop all the guys and lock down the top receivers on the other teams.
Agreed. I mean, our passing rating was kind of bad this year. It ended up getting better throughout the season, but I agree. I think having a corner alongside Jeff Okudah would be huge.
Oh, yeah.
So,
like, I mean, there's talks about Ramsey coming to the Lions. I feel like that'd be huge. I mean, he's a little bit on the older side. I mean, I wouldn't say he's got years left, obviously, but I think the big benefit of that is that he has the experience. You know, he's won a Super Bowl with the Rams, so I feel like he could really, really make a difference on the team. Yeah,
so Teddy, if there were one player that you could get, one or two maybe, who would decide to pursue in the offseason?
I think the former Rams, either Bobby Wagner or Ramsey, I feel like those guys would fit good in our culture. People say like Ramsey's a little bit like not well in the locker room, but I feel like Dan Campbell will like make them fit perfectly. Yeah. And aside like with Jeff Okudah, our former third, I feel like third overall pick, Ramsey's gonna like help teach them, help develop them a lot more with the other young guys we got in the secondary.
I mean, let me tell you, it's obvious that the Lions want Ramsey because, I mean, Jerry Jacobs tweeted out that we might as well just get him right now, and I think we should too. And it's crazy to me even that the Rams would cut Bobby Wagner. I mean, he's a linebacker. He's got great skill. He's a 9-time Pro Bowl player, so I just can't believe that.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting old, but he still had a stellar season last year. He was close to being a Pro Bowl player. I mean, you can't really go wrong with him. Same with Jalen Ramsey. In the last game versus Seahawks, he showed why he was a top corner this year. And I think one final player that I would love to have on the Lions is Eli Apple. He's a free agent this year. And he showed with the Cincinnati Bengals that he's a stud. Like, he'll do what it takes to win, and he's a hard hitter too. So what would you feel like, Teddy, if we had Eli Apple?
Eli Apple, like, he won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He's a guy that like won't bow down, like won't back down, and will always like keep fighting against even the top receivers. You saw him going at it with Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. He got that touchdown over him, but like he kept going at him, and we just need those tough guys in our culture that won't just back down from anybody.
100%
I
agree.
agree. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Teddy. And we are going to end the show here.
Yeah. Thank you for coming out. I'm Branden Turner.
I'm Austin Meyer, and thank you for joining us on M6 Sports Spotlight.